Welcome to this episode of the Section 17 podcast. I'm your host, Brian Kennedy, and as always, I'm joined by my co-hosts, Josh Cox, Jamie Holt, and the big dog is not here tonight, and for the first time since he took on the role of producer, Tyler Witt is joining us for this recap episode, and ring that bell. I thought we were going to have a bell sound, Josh. Come on, you're killing me here.
No, we don't have a bell. We don't have a bell.
We'll have to put that maybe in post-production, Tyler, since you're on here. But yeah, Duke went to Chapel Hill, handled business, kept the bell for the second consecutive season. We've got a great episode for you, another mailbag. We're going to give our predictions for the season finale against Wake Forest, 3:30 on the ACC network. We've got our reaction to all things Duke and Chapel Hill College. But before we do all that, folks, you know the drill. We got to keep all of these lights on, including Tyler's lights. Tyler, this is the first time we got to keep your lights on as well. And we're going to start with Matt Lunsford-Blivin when it comes to buying, selling, investing, or building here in Durham and around the Triangle. Matt is always ready to help you move the chains. He'll quarterback the whole process from kickoff to the final whistle so you never fumble a deal. If you're looking for a real estate win, put your trust in Realtor Matt Lunsford-Blivin, helping you score big in the Durham market and beyond. For more information, email Matt at mlb@chappellres.com. That's mlb@chappellres.com. And Matt actually told us this week he got another customer. One of you guys, appreciate you listening, to have Matt help out in their realty needs. So, Josh, who else do we have to thank to keep these lights on?
Yeah, we do want to thank our friends at El Rodeo on North Duke Street in Durham. And once again, I hit it up again this weekend. Once again, shout out Quayshawn Brown. I got me some queso, and I was a happy camper, man. Happy camper. So El Rodeo, North Duke Street. It's about 10 minutes north of campus. Hit it up, take a picture while you're there, and send it over to us. And we really appreciate their sponsorship this year. And then last but not least, we have our old friends from Hometown Air.
Your HVAC system works hard all year. Shouldn't you have a team that works just as hard for it? Hometown Air's service contracts give you peace of mind, priority service, and preventative care to keep your system running efficiently for as long as possible. It's all about staying ahead of problems so your system lasts longer and your home stays comfortable. Keep it simple, stay comfortable, and enjoy the season without worry. Mention the Section 17 podcast for 10% off your next visit. Call 919-568-3212 or visit hometownairnc.com for your free quote today.
And I do want to give a shout out to them. They hit up the tailgate, as we mentioned a couple weeks ago, gave out a bunch of t-shirts. Several of you have those. And make sure you do call them. Obviously, it's getting cold, folks. It's getting cold. And so make sure you call them for all of your residential HVAC needs. Do you call it HVAC or HVAC, guys? What do you do?
HVAC.
HVAC?
It's HVAC and property management.
HVAC.
All right, it's HVAC. That's what we're going as a pod. We've decided it's HVAC.
HVAC is like pinky up. We don't do that on this podcast.
No.
All right. As we stated, the Devils went to Chapel Hill and they took care of business beating Chapel Hill College. So let me get my camera adjusted. There we go. 32-25, keeping the bell for the second straight year. We're going to give our thoughts. Even the big dog, he gave his thoughts. He recorded his thoughts. But before we get all to all that, wow, that was a run on. We're going to hear from the man himself. Here is head coach Manny Diaz post-game after the big win.
What a game, right? We said it all week. Our older guys talked to our younger guys, said, Duke Carolina's come down to the last play of the game. It's going to come down to the fourth quarter. No matter how it looks through the first three, there were times where it felt like we had control of the game. Credit to them. They made a fight back, which you would expect in a rivalry game. It felt like they took control of the game. And in my mind, the key sequence of the game is we got stopped on the fourth down. All the momentum in the stadium was kind of going their way. Hadn't played great on defense in the second half of the game. And to go out there, I think we had back-to-back sacks. Got a 3-and-out, got the ball back for our offense. I felt like that just flipped Mo in the game. And, it's 2 years in a row that when it came down to winning time at the end of the game in this fixture, that the Duke guys were the ones making the plays in clutch time. And I'm so proud of our older guys, proud of our seniors who this is their last game in this contest, and to go out with back-to-back wins in this series, which hasn't been done very often, or certainly not in a long time. And to win away at your rival, in my mind, is one of the greatest things in college sports. It's a great scene in that locker room, as you'd imagine, and it'll be a great quick trip back north to Durham. So with that, let's do questions.
And again, that was head coach Manny Diaz giving his first thoughts after Duke secured the victory bell for the second straight year. Crazy game. Tyler was actually at my house to watch the game along with some friends and family. We're going to give our thoughts, but we got to start with the big dog. He's absent, but he's kind of not absent. He recorded his thoughts on all things Duke UNC.
Wow, what an exciting win by our Blue Devils yesterday against Muffy and Buffy and them stupid Argyle foot-loving morons over in Chapel Hill. How about that win, baby? Listen, great game. Wanted to jump. Thought we were going to have to do a couple crazy things there when we went for that 4th and 1 and that stupid play call to Queso. But hey, how did we know that in the background, Manny and them had a plan? And if you go back and watch it, you can see the sideline. Everybody knew what they were getting ready to run when Todd ran the play. And hey, Todd Father is the man of the hour. My man will never have to pay for a meal or a drink in Durham, North Carolina the rest of his life. If you see Todd Pelino, you make sure you give him his food and tell him to thank you for the great job you did that Saturday at Chapel Hill College. Thank you, buddy. But, man, also some great things that happened during the game. Brian Parker knocking down that pass. Man, that was a key thing because that actually helped Duke in the long run. And then, finally, Duke made some stops back-to-back. It was a miracle, or so it seemed. But, hey, they won the game at the end of the day. Shout out to old Billy Boy. Great job on trying to be cute there with the onside kick. Didn't work. You're not as good a coach at college as you were at the pros. That's what happens when you don't have Tom Brady, even though my man looked like Tom Brady for a little while back there, until Duke hit him. And guess what happened? When they hit him, he started making bad mistakes. How about that? You hit the quarterback and they make bad mistakes and they turn the ball back over to you on downs. Great job, though. Great blitzing. I thought Packy did a great job there in the second half. Still got to work on our defense, but hey, it is what it is. Young guys are getting in there and playing. I mean, we're playing without our starting fifth-year senior, Trey Freeman. But the W is the W. Hey, great job. Now it's Hubert's chance to try to win in basketball. Oh, never mind. Hubert's never going to beat John Shire, so it really doesn't matter. But hey, great job. Let's go, Duke. Man, I know the guys are getting ready to go over the recap of all they saw and everything like that. Great job, though. Blue Devils, baby. Blue Devils. Stop it now.
Thanks, Scott, for those comments, especially the hard stop at the end. That was the best part.
Stop it now. That's the way he treats his wife, bro. He was like, stop it now.
I'm just going to say that now to you guys. Just stop it now. All right. Who wants to go first? Who wants to start it now?
I'll start it out, man. I'll start it out, Jamie. I'll beat you to it. No, listen. We went into this game. I say we. I think the collective people following the program went into this game not knowing what to expect. And boy, did it deliver, not knowing what to expect. The defense played better than we thought at times. The offense did not play well. Honestly, we maybe expected that a little bit with the way UNC's defense has been playing this season. But listen, it wasn't pretty. It wasn't. Darian Mensah had his least amount of yardage, for the season in this game. But the truth is, all that matters in the Duke UNC battle for the victory bell is who takes that bell home. And while on one hand, you're like, what in the world was going on with the 4th and 1 trick play? Somehow Jonathan Brewer thinks that Queso is a quarterback, because we've tried a trick play a couple of different times this season with Queso throwing the ball. But 4th and 1, when you have this guy named Anderson Castle on your team, I don't understand why it's not a simple 4th and 1 call. But anyway, we made up for that, because what a gutsy call there for Todd Pelino. He's a more athletic guy than what anybody probably gave him credit for. And look, he almost took the thing all the way to the house. And you saw him at the very end there. He started to switch the ball, and you were thinking he might try to do that stretch. I think he made the wise decision. But anyway, my thoughts are Duke two years in a row. Manny Diaz is 2-0 against the Tar Heels. And congrats to those guys. I couldn't be happier for him.
Yeah, I won't say much. I mean, Scott and Josh kind of covered it there. But I will say that I went through basically every emotion that one could possibly have during this game. Because Duke went from, I mean, cruising, looking like they might even win by a couple of scores, to down a point, after a 2-point conversion, and I'm tweeting game over, which thanks to the Duke of QP, he reminded me after the game. He asked for an update on that, and I said, well, technically the game is still over. It just Duke happened to win. But anyways, they came back from that.
Thanks for the support.
Thanks for the support. Yeah, so I mean, I went through all the emotions, but they came back. This game typically has been crazy. I mean, pretty much every year. I mean, even when Duke was in the dark days, as we call them, the early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s. I mean, Duke was still playing Carolina really close, and crazy stuff was happening in this game. Seems like every year. So, and this game was no exception. So great game. Glad to keep the victory bell, and hope to get a W against Wake Forest this weekend.
Yeah, honestly, it was a great game. Everyone's going to look back and point back to that impressive run by Todd Pelino on a 4th down fake field goal. But my big play of the game was Luke Murgatt on that 3rd and 7. They finally put him in a QB spy. We've been getting beat by QB runs all year, and he's in a spy. We rush 3. They get a little bit of pressure, and Murgatt comes in, delivers the blow for a sack, lose some extra yards, put him in a 4th and long where they just have to heave up a pass. And honestly, that really helped seal the game there.
I mean, it was 2 Dukes, like we've seen. I mean, I would love to say that this was a complete game by Duke, but as Jamie stated, Duke was up big and then let UNC come back, and then we had to fight and claw our way to get the victory in the 4th quarter. But a win's a win. Duke's bowl eligible. And that's what we've been talking about these last few weeks, is getting over that hump to get that 6th win. Now, Duke heads into Wake Forest to take on a very formidable Demon Deacon opponent that many of us at the beginning of the season were kind of wondering, Josh, if this Wake team was legit or not. Because he did remind us before we started recording, they almost lost to Kennesaw State. And you see that and you go, man, this is going to be an easy win. But then Wake starts reeling off those wins against teams that – go ahead.
And you might even make some outlandish statements privately.
Yes, that are
how bad they are. So
that are still held over your head to this day, yep. And we'll see what happens on Saturday. But to go back, it was just one of those things to where when UNC first scored, I was like, oh, it's going to be another one of those games. It's going to be Virginia 2.0, because it just looked like the defense was just not there. I mean, it's like they just stayed on the bus. They didn't get off the bus to get on the field. But adjustments were made. Kudos to Padke. Kudos to Jonathan Brewer. Kudos to Gabe Infante for that fake field goal. Because we were already, and again, Tyler was at my house while we watched the game, we were already just resigned to, okay, hopefully Todd makes this field goal. We go up 1 point, and then we can stop UNC. Next thing you know,
I think we would have been up 2, right? Yeah, we would have gone up 2, but they still could have won. We were down.
Okay,
1.
but still, yeah,
they would have won it with a field goal.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yep.
But
listen, I only say that because YouTube commenters will be like, Brian missed it by 1 point at mile marker or whatever.
I would do the same, so I can't really blame them.
Oh, we know.
I can give it. I got to take it too. But when the fake field goal happened, the question, Jamie's already lost it. The question was, would Todd be able to get there because of the fake or the 4th down trick play with Queso? Because as soon as the ball was hiked, I know some Duke fans are going, oh, it was a botched snap. Here we go. They're just going to have to try to get that. I think it was 2 or 3 yards. And then Todd put on his wheels. And credit to David Feely, because had he not put the team through those offseason workouts, Todd might not have been as fast as he was. But regardless, Duke is 6-5, heading into the weight game, the season finale, with all the momentum. And speaking of the weight game, we got to roll into the mailbag. We've got another one. Thank you, Josh. We have another packed mailbag, thanks to each and every one of you who sent in the questions. I kind of have a feeling what most of the questions are going to be focused around now that Duke is bowl eligible, but let's jump into it. Jamie, go ahead and get us rolling.
All right. And this comes from @BigDeckDefender. Don't want to mess that name up.
I've seen him around here. He's new. Is he new to the Duke football Twitter space?
I just noticed him in the last week and a half, so he must be new.
See, he's either new or he's somebody else that's changed their name.
Well, it's got to be
anyways,
burner of a burner.
Anyways, I can't mess up that name or else we got some issues with YouTube, maybe. So anyways, @BigDeckDefender. Should Duke gift UNC a Ring doorbell camera so they can at least see the victory bell, since they clearly can't touch it? Thought that was funny. So
yeah, that is good. I will say, I really do wish, and not to get off on the tangent here, I wish Duke celebrated the victory bell more, like back in the day, where like they rang it and they brought it out. Like I wish they would bring it out for the Wake Forest game.
Yeah, every game. Why not bring it out?
Yeah.
I think didn't Carolina used to do that?
I think
right?
Wes and Chris would say it's too heavy to get up and down that ramp.
That's exactly, when me and Tyler were recording one of our behind the scenes, we did ask about that, and they said it's just the logistics of getting it up and down that tunnel is a nightmare. So they'll do it for one game and one game alone if it's at Wallace Wade, and that's the UNC game. I get it, but at the same time, let's celebrate the bell.
Yeah, I get celebrating, but at least we're not defacing locker rooms like other teams.
True. I did see a picture of Wes Williams with a chair up in the locker room that he was about to slam on the ground, and it had a UNC decal on the back of it. So whatever.
He probably just set it back down. No, he never.
He's a gentle soul.
Yeah, Wes would never. We got another one. Brian Scott Owens wants to know faster wheels, Todd Pelino or the Roadrunner? Legit question. Todd Pelino was flying.
As I said, he is more athletic than than probably your average kicker. And he did. I mean, he got to that corner and he got around the edge. And the coolest thing about the play, though, was watching the guy from the edge go diving at Reynolds.
Yeah.
Like it was perfect. It was
let's give credit to that pitch too, because if that pitch is just a little bit off, then that play doesn't work at all, right? I mean, it doesn't work at all.
That was a great rugby toss.
Yeah.
I mean, that was like a rugby pitch that you see in rugby matches. That was great.
Although Carolina was completely fooled. Like they were going the opposite way, and it was just a perfect play. Anyways. And here's a more serious question. Bentley Weeks has wondered, is Todd's play the best non-scoring play in Duke history? That's a great question. I mean, I'll
tell you the one play that comes to mind. It was in a loss, so I don't know if it counts. Jordan Moore's catch against Miami, the one hand, like that thing was shown all over ESPN. That one, that's in recent history. That's one that comes to mind.
I think it'd be hard to beat Todd's. I mean, the fact that the game against Carolina's on the line, we're down a point, probably not going to get the ball back, right? I mean, if Duke misses that trick play, I mean, there is some time left, but who knows if they get the ball back or not, or how much time there would be left. So huge play. I mean, it could be.
Yeah, and especially in a rivalry game, if it was just against a non-con opponent or an ACC opponent that Duke doesn't play but once every 4 years, I don't think the significance would be there. But the fact that it was the rivalry game and for the bell, and to Jamie's point, this game was basically a shootout for the majority of the game. Neither defense could stop either team. I would maybe factor in some of the surprise Cutcliffe onside kicks that they would do early, or I would say around the 13 to 14 seasons, to where teams weren't expecting it. A successful onside kick, mind you, just throwing that out there. But yeah, I don't think there's anything that I can think of off the top of my head as significant as what that play did for us.
Yeah, plus it's Duke UNC. Like that has to add to it.
Yeah, it's hard to beat with Belichick's first game at UNC, the alleged GOAT, but I got my thoughts on that. That he's not actually the GOAT, that Tom Brady carried that deal, but whatever. I'm not alone in that thought.
Jamie, if you'll give me 5 seconds, I will actually show you. I don't know how I can see this. Let's see here. There is a tweet out there, and I can't find it right now. But anyway, there is a tweet out there that here it is. I've got it on my bookmarks. Bill Belichick is 83-101 and 1-2 in the playoff as an NFL head coach without Tom Brady as his starting QB. He is 83-101 and 1-2 in the playoffs. So roughly a 450 winning percentage and a losing record also in the playoffs.
It's almost like having one Thomas Brady makes things a lot easier.
Does that also include his time coaching the Browns?
It's all of his. It's all of his.
Oh,
head
okay,
coaching
okay,
experience.
got it. Okay.
Without Tom Brady.
Yep. All right. At the Duke of QP, he says, "Would you rather have a 6-6 record with a dramatic win over UNC every year, or 9-3 with a loss to UNC every year?" This to me is easy. I mean, it's got to be 9-3, correct? I mean, I would hate not to beat UNC every year, but 9 wins every year. I mean, they're going to build a statue for Manny Diaz outside Wallace Wade Stadium.
Yeah, with 9 wins every single season, I mean, we're in talks to go to the ACC championship game almost every single year. And I think I'd rather have that long-term success, even though it pains me to know that we'd be losing to Carolina every single year. But you got to pick and choose in this question. So
I'll argue back. What if that 6-6 with the Carolina win included 6 ACC wins, and you would be 6-2 heading into the end of the season?
Stop it. That is it, on a normal ACC year. 6-2 doesn't get you into the ACC championship game anyway. So,
does it?
Said on a normal ACC year, there is a Miami or Clemson who has got one.
When has the ACC been normal lately? When's the last year that the ACC was normal? I love ACC chaos. But all jokes aside, winning the bell has been great. But I think collectively we went through those dark ages to where Duke didn't sniff the bell for 10 plus years. I look back at this. I think in the 2000s alone, Duke won the bell in 2003. I think Ted Roof, that was when he was an interim coach and they took the tag off. And then after that, it's just UNC won until the Cutcliffe year. So, yeah, I would say 9-3 because you open a lot more doors as far as, like what Tyler was saying, ACC championship, but also more prestigious bowl games.
Well, I thought I was muted, so I muted myself.
Oh, I want to give a shout out real quick. Luis Olivero said in the last 14 games between Duke and UNC, they're now 7-7. So it's been very even in the last 14. Before that, Duke lost 21 of 22.
And UNC won 5 straight in this 14-year span, so it did not feel like 7-7.
Yep.
Yeah. And one more comment about the 9-3 thing. You figure there's a couple of years in there where you probably win 10 or 11 games. So, yeah, I'm definitely taking 9-3. At Blade for Duke, thought this was a good question, and this might trigger some emotion. Which would lead to a more intense tirade? Dropping VJ into coverage on 3rd and 8, or the infamous jet sweep throwback to the QB on 4th and 1?
Man, can we just I know we praise the defense and Patkey made the second half adjustments, but this is 2 games in a row where VJ has been in coverage. And I know earlier in the season, Wes, they run the same thing on Wes's side where he drops back into coverage. I feel like Wes is a little bit more. That's just a little bit more of the thing he can do. And not saying VJ can't do it, but it's like, why would you elect to do that on a 3rd down? And I know there's different schemes and stuff, but that scheme, you're putting VJ Anthony outside of the area where he's good, right? VJ Anthony needs to be hitting that quarterback, and he needs to be run stopping. Like, that's VJ Anthony, man. Like, don't try to make the guy who's an all ACC performer do something different. Like, turn him loose. So that's mind blowing to me.
Yeah, another thing that you see with defensive ends, a lot of time when they do go into coverage, they're covering the flat, not 20, 30 yards downfield trying to pick up a speedy receiver that they can't catch. Like, it doesn't make any sense why he's that far down the field and why that's his assignment.
I used to, as a Carolina Panthers fan, I used to see a defensive end drop into coverage quite a bit, but his name was Julius Peppers, and he was a freak. So nothing against VJ, but he probably should not be dropping into coverage. He should be going after the quarterback. I think that's a perfect.
Jamie, 53 minutes before kickoff. No more Panthers references, please. Okay.
But also, my answer to Blade for Duke's question there is actually yes, because both of those plays triggered me emotionally. So, because the 4th and 1 call, that was absolutely ridiculous. When you have Anderson Castle, as Josh mentioned, I think in his opening statement, when you have Anderson Castle, give him the ball or give Nate Shepard the ball. It doesn't matter. Either one of them would have got the first down. I mean, Nate was running the ball well. Castle was running the ball well. Just hand the ball off. Run the ball with Mensa. That would have worked. Anything but what they actually did. Luckily, Duke was able to get the ball back and still win the game. But, all right. I thought this was interesting. More of comments, but we can discuss it too. Lane Phipps, noted Duke coaching staff hater, says, first off, the cojones on Infante for calling that fake. Obviously love to see that. With all the negativity I've had this season, he says he's really got to tip his cap to special teams. I feel like they have been the only unit that has shown significant improvement from game 1, which is absolutely the truth. I still have to shake my head at some of the decision making of both Brewer and Packey. I know it's easy for me to say as a couch coach, but sending our best pass rusher into coverage, we just talked about that on a crucial 3rd down, has been irritating to watch. And the offensive play calling has been driving me nuts. There's really been no scheming whatsoever. And once again, we've talked about it before. Don't get me started on that 4th and 1. Brewer needs to go. I guess I really don't have a question. He just wanted to complain. I don't know.
I mean, I don't think that play calling is the biggest issue. It's like overall scheme. It's overall, like, there's more to it than that. Like, play calling is like the most elementary school part of it that fans can get mad about. But, like, we have to all admit, we have no idea what is going into the reasons behind why certain things are happening. And my thing is, the offense has absolutely given you no reason. If you look at the offense for 11 games, there is no reason to think that this offense needs to have somebody else, at the helm. There's no reason to think that. Now, the defense, look at the numbers. And that's up to Manny Diaz to figure out. But the offense is, I don't think you can. It would be ridiculous to think that you get rid of an offensive coordinator whose quarterback is leading the ACC in categories. And you know what I'm saying? Like, that just doesn't make any sense.
And it would be 2 years in a row that the quarterback. I'm getting feedback, Josh. I think you need to mute. I think that you got to remember we've gotten 2 quarterbacks in 2 years that could be breaking the single season record in multiple categories too. You don't do that if you're not being successful. I get that wins are what everyone looks at. I'm just as guilty when we look at results. But at the same time, let's just I'll play devil's advocate really quick. Let's say that they get rid of Brewer at the end of the season. Who are you bringing in? Another new scheme. Because if this isn't working, Manny Diaz is not going to bring in a different offensive coordinator with the same playbook. So then you would bring in someone completely new. completely change everything. That might not suit Darian's play style. Just a lot of things to think about in the heat of the moment. Yes, we need to get rid of this person, that person, but logically, okay, let's bring in a G5 coordinator who doesn't have experience in the P4 conferences. Their play style might not work. Just something to think about, and we understand the frustration.
And remember, they handpicked. That's the right word. They handpicked Darian Mensah for the offense that Jonathan Brewer wanted to run. And Darian Mensah is on a 2-year deal. Jonathan Brewer ain't going anywhere. You can be mad, whatever. Brewer is not going anywhere. They got his quarterback. He's been successful, and they're sticking with this. It's not happening. So, I mean, it's not even worth even talking about.
Yeah, if I wanted to nitpick the offense, yeah, I could. I mean, should we run the ball more? Should we give the ball more to Nate Shepard? Should we have not called that crazy 4th and 1 play? Should we have just handed the ball to Castle? Absolutely. But the offense has been successful throughout the year. And I agree with, I can't remember if it was Josh or Brian that said it, the defense is the biggest issue. And we talked about it last week. Or I think me and Josh talked about it on the UNC podcast that we were on. The chaos that this defense needs to cause to be successful in Manny Diaz's system, and it's just not happening this year. Last year it did happen. Last year we got all the turnovers, but this year it's just not happening. Up next is at Regina Lee _LA. She said, "Would you please start a collection so we can give some Christmas gifts to the Todd father, Cade Reynolson, and Luke Margot?" 2 is Infante a mystery inside an enigma? She said it's common to talk about players maturing over the season, and I think she's talking about Infante here. But do you think these particular coaches can also learn/grow? I think it's obvious that Infante has grown throughout the year, because start of the season we were not happy with special teams at all, but I think they've gotten better each week. We're not talking about, oh, there's a special teams mistake. I don't feel like we're really talking about it anymore. We're talking about, even on that last was it the last kickoff that after Duke scored the touchdown, they kicked it and held Carolina inside the 20. The special teams got down there and made a nice tackle inside the 20. That's another special teams win. Multiple special teams wins throughout that game, and I just think they've gotten better throughout the season.
Yeah, and you look at the personnel. I mean, you're seeing Cooper Barkate as like a sure hands guy, so he typically is fielding punts where like you have a feeling you're probably going to fair catch it. It's Cooper back there, and then you also have seen Jaden Moore in on kick returns with Samir, and so like, you know what I mean? You're seeing that, and then you're also earlier in the year you had like running into the kicker, roughing the punter, stuff happened. I mean, Chandler even had one, and it was like you were kind of scratching your head like, how's this happening? You haven't seen them, and so to answer her question, can coaches get better throughout a season? Absolutely, they legitimately can. They can get more comfortable with their team, with their guys. They can call better. You know, they understand. Hopefully by game 11, they understand their guys better than they did in game 2, right? And so like you almost, it's not even can they improve, you almost expect them to improve. Case in point, Wake Forest. Like obviously they have improved throughout the season. You got to give credit to their coaching staff and their players, but their coaching staff. So yes.
All right, moving on. Peter Dodge. I thought this was first he goes on to say he wants to publicly own my criticism of the special teams coordinator. He's here to publicly repent and beg forgiveness for his transgressions. But his question is, does Jordan enter the portal? And did y'all see the tweet? Did y'all see that one tweet?
And by Jordan, you mean Jordan?
Jordan, whatever. I thought her name was Jordan.
Bro, that's incredible. Jamie, you got to stop mispronouncing names, bro.
Are you trying to get wow?
God.
UNC fans just got really heated.
Yeah.
Jeez. But did y'all see that one? I think it was that the guy that's at Big Deck Defender. I think he's the one that tweeted it. I think I retweeted it. It's the Mr.
Steal Your Girl.
Steal Your Girl. And it was Manny standing there, and then Jordan was like right behind him. Like, oh, that was pretty funny.
Yeah, man. I mean, what a debacle over there. Like, honestly, like, if you take 10 seconds and just think, what if you were in their shoes? Like, we went on the Tar Pit podcast. We love those guys. But, like, can you imagine having the hype of the preseason and, like, having a podcast to talk about everything that can be and will be, and here you sit with 4 wins or whatever they got? Like, it's terrible. So I don't feel bad for him, though. I don't feel bad for him.
Did you see the latest news? She is going to sue Pablo Torres for all the information
Pablo Torre. Yeah,
I'll take that one now. Torre.
Come on, guys.
Oh my
I'm glad
God.
I'm here, man.
Oh my God.
What I've heard is I don't think she can transfer because she's got a new cheer schedule with her co-ed team. She's got to stay committed to that co-ed team, man.
Let me tell you something. I have not laughed like to see the clip of her like and her hair like flopping everywhere, like when she's doing her cheers, like they're so into it. And Bill, the photo of Bill, that's just like he is the angriest old dude you have ever seen in your life. Like it, I would have loved to be there and just watch his reaction. So
Hey, I will say the guy flyer in front of her was 10 times better too.
I didn't pay that much attention to anyone else.
Tyler was really engaged watching all the stunts and flips.
They should go on America's Got Talent.
Maybe. They've never seen a cheer team on there.
No, maybe not. All right, we got Nathaniel Miller, and he says, "Why can't Duke fans be happy with the win at UNC and that we have the victory bell?" He goes on to say, "Still, we got the W, and people are still complaining about Duke's performance and the coaching." I just think it is what it is at this point.
Shout out to Nate Mill with the voice of reason here.
All right, right.
This? The new and improved Nate Mill.
One of Jamie's 500 cousins, by the way.
That's right. No, I actually agree with Nate Mill 100%, man. Like, look, like, what do you want us to do? Lose the game? Like, you win the game and, like, be happy. Like, at this stage of the season, when you're at game 11, like, it doesn't matter. Get the win and go celebrate the win. It's your rival. Like, I agree. Like, there's like such toxic, like, thoughts sometimes. And look, I can be negative. I'm more probably negative privately than I am obviously on this podcast. I can be negative. Look, I lived through it, man. I was at games in the early 2000s and like I was at games in the 90s, man. Like, yeah, I mean, Brian and I talk about that stuff we talk about it all the time. So like I get it. So like I can absolutely be happy for a Carolina win. I don't care if we were favored by 14.5 and we win by 1 point. I don't care. I'll take a Carolina win and go to the house every single time.
I think it's really easy just to take wins for granted when you just expect success. We're not used to having success, having 8-9 win seasons, especially back to back to back. So when we don't have that happen again for the 4th year, you know, we're like, well, we're wrong. We were on a heater. And I'm like, sometimes it dies out a little bit. You just got to be a little patient, give it some time. I mean, we're still trying to figure some things out as a program, like as a whole, not just as this team.
I wonder, and this is just me thinking out loud with you guys because it just thought about this. Could the success of your Vanderbilts and your Indianas, schools that in the past were laughing stocks just like Duke was, they've had instant success. Indiana with Kurt Signetti, Vanderbilt with Diego Pavia. Again, here go the names.
No, but he's not
okay. I got it.
Yeah, he's not the coach.
Well, Diego Vaughn is what it's going to soon be. But I'm saying you put the right player or the right coach at the right school. Sometimes you have instant success. Other times it could take a little bit longer. And we live in a world of instant gratification. And I think jealousy comes into play. We as Duke fans are like, wait a second. Indiana was just as bad as we used to be. Vanderbilt was just as bad as we used to be. But they're getting to the playoffs and they're getting playoff consideration and they could go here and they can go there. Who knows what next year could bring? What if Indiana goes down and what if Vanderbilt goes down as far as success and Duke is on the rise? I mean, I'm with Josh. I hate the losses, but I also really enjoy the wins because there were times to where getting one win a season was an accomplishment for this program. And again, I know it's completely different. Apples and oranges compared to the way things were back in the 90s and 2000s is completely different than 2025. But there are still teams out there that are winless with their football programs. It could be any team at any time. So, and just say this, what if Duke beats Wake this weekend? What's the excuse going to be then? Well, we should have been at 8 wins. We should have been at 9 wins. We should have. You know what? It is what it is. Take the wins with the wins.
I will
I
say,
think.
go ahead, Tyler.
Oh, sorry. All I was going to say is I know he who shall not be named, Mike Elko. Honestly, if we had seen him for a year 3, Riley could have stayed with him. I think we would have seen a little bit more of that instant success that we're seeing at some of these other programs who've had the coaches a little longer than 2 years. But we're very fortunate and I'm very grateful as a Duke fan to have gotten Manny Diaz to, still put on the amount of wins that we've gotten over the last 2 seasons. I think it's just important to, when you're comparing yourself to some of these other instant success stories, it's always nice to think about what could have been, but be thankful for where we're at now. I mean, we're bowl eligible again, 4 seasons in a row.
Yep.
That's incredible.
Yeah, I agree. And I will say, and maybe I know too much, but the other thing about the Vanderbilts and the Indianas is a whole heck of a lot of money was put into those rosters. And Duke fans, the one that gets all the hype, right? Is obviously the Darian Mensah stuff, but Duke is running on a, comparatively speaking, to the big dogs. Duke is running on a pretty tight budget for football, and that's a bigger. I could probably not actually talk about it, but that's a bigger thing. And if Duke is gonna think they're gonna be Indiana, guess what? You got to spend like Indiana. And that means you got to raise money like Indiana. And that means your donors or your creativity in making money has got to be like Indiana. And right now, for whatever reason, not my thing to say, but for whatever reason, the fundraising is at a level that Manny feels like he can be successful with. And so that is great. But it is not at a level, in my opinion, where you're going to be in the college football playoff and you're going to be contending for national championships.
I mean, and you look at it, the roster that's there. I mean, it should have been. I mean, Duke should have beaten Tulane and UConn. That loss to Tulane doesn't look as bad because it looks like Tulane could actually be in the college football playoff, right? They're looking good. They're looking like they win their last couple of games and their conference championship game. I think they're going to even be in the college football playoff. But you win those 2 games, and we're sitting at we're like Wake Forest. We're sitting at 8-3 instead of 6-5. But it is what it is. We'll move on to the next one. Timothy Gonzalez at Timothy 08731120. He wants to know what our favorite moment is from the senior class. And I'll go first because we kind of discussed this question. Actually, I told the guys about this question before we even got on here. We discussed it before we got on here. Mine is Trey Freeman last year against Carolina, sealing the deal with the interception after the being down 20-0. I think we were. Manny's famous halftime speech, and yeah, that's mine. Trey Freeman sealing the deal and getting the victory bell back in Durham and Wallace Wade last year.
I take mine way back 48 hours. The Todd Pelino fake field goal. Because let's be honest, Duke was on the verge of being potentially 5-6, heading into a Wake game that could potentially put the Duke team 5-7. No bowl game, more questions being asked than answers given. Executed perfectly. We as Duke fans were on the rise with Todd, and then there were some low times, but he's back on the upward trend. So hopefully Todd can end his college career the way it began, and that's just on fire, on a run. Who knows what this weight game is going to bring? Who knows what the bowl game is going to bring wherever they go, whoever they play against? But to get that from Todd Pelino was vindication for all those kicks that were, missed, and the extra points that should have been made, because he went through a spell. He really did. And I know we joked about it. He was getting close to my not in field goal range talks, but he got out of that funk, whatever happened, and he's gotten back to his ways. But yeah, the fake field goal, that was great. That's going to live in memories for a long time.
Yeah, I think for me, Chandler Rivers has had a lot of big plays over his career, but my all-time favorite for him is is the "You Got Mossed" at Miami. I think that's a really solid choice.
Good. I thought you were about to take mine, bro. Literally, I'm like freaking Tyler, because I don't think, were you a part of our pre-talk? You weren't on yet. Okay. So yeah, mine is first of all, let me say that I echo Brian's thoughts, and as you guys know, like, I'm a big Todd Pelino fan. Love that family, love that dude. And he was absolutely pumped after that game. I was able to exchange a couple of messages with him, just like, anyway, it was awesome for him. And in Keenan, Belichick first game, and just, yeah. So anyway, but that's not mine. Mine is last year, Duke had never beaten the Florida State Seminoles in the history of the football program. And this young fella who started as a true freshman, we saw him one of the first ever practices with Mike Elko at spring ball. And we said, hey, Zero over there, Chandler Rivers, that dude's playing his freshman year, right? And we started hearing people like, oh, yeah, he's going to have to see the field. Last year, pick 6 in Wallace Wade. Duke gets the win. I think he actually had a pick 6 the previous year, too, on Florida State, if I'm not mistaken. But Duke didn't win that game, I think. I could be wrong on that. And I'm, once again, YouTube comments, let me know. But I know he had the pick 6 last year, and Duke got the win against Florida State. So that is my favorite moment from old Chandler Rivers.
All right. Now here we go. Here we're going to get into the down the rabbit hole here. At Bleed in Duke Blue. So join me in my delusions for a minute while I dabble in the ACC chaos for fun. I've seen mixed things about what Duke needs to happen in the final weekend to make it to Charlotte. Can y'all lay it out clearly for those of us who are just curious who to root for? And similar, we got one from Michael Martinez, who wants us to explain who has to lose and what scenarios there are for Duke.
So Brian, I'll let you take it.
Yeah,
I'll let you take it.
Mhm.
But it's crazy that we're in this position. It's absolutely nuts. And I know we're about to get into the Duke stuff, but what happens is if SMU and Virginia win, none of this matters. They are the two teams that control their own destiny. So if SMU and Virginia wins, what we're about to talk about does not matter. But that doesn't mean we're not going to talk about it. So Brian, I'll let you take it from there.
Even crazier, before we get into Duke scenarios, if the stars align and the top 6 teams all finish at 6-2, I'm not exaggerating when I say this, and I'm not lying, your Duke Blue Devils will be the top seed heading to Charlotte for the ACC title game. Welcome. Coastal chaos is not ever going away. If you know what we're talking about, it's back when the divisions of Atlantic and Coastal. Atlantic, it was always either Florida State or Clemson. Coastal, you could flip a coin every week to see who would win and go to the ACC title game. But let's pull up what we found. Our thanks to Mike Monaco. I believe he's a play-by-play announcer for ESPN. I don't know if he did all these scenarios or if he found it and just posted it. But if you're watching on YouTube, you can take a look and follow along with us. If you're listening, I'll try to go through it very quickly. Very simple for Duke. Well, not very simple, but simply put, Duke has to win. We all know that. They have to beat Wake Forest. If Duke wins, Pitt loses, SMU loses, they're in. Or Duke wins, Pitt loses, UVA loses, and Chapel Hill College wins. I don't think any of us want that scenario. To actually want to pull for Chapel Hill College, aren't they playing at primetime with State? But that's Friday, right? they're playing Black Friday, or is that
Yeah,
Saturday?
I believe they're playing Friday.
Okay, so they'll be first, so that we'll know either way. The other scenario, which no one wants, Duke wins, Pitt loses, UVA loses, State wins, then Duke would have to finish higher than Miami in the Sports Source Analytics rating or ranking. I have no idea what that is, so don't ask me. If you know, please comment in the video, because I'm guessing that's just the strength of schedule or common opponents or something. I don't know. Speaking of
we also put. I was about to say, we
Yeah.
also put on this graphic. We left it on here just because of how ridiculous it is. There are literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lines of what would need to happen with Miami, and we're not going to read them, but they are absolutely insane. And to be fair, big picture here, Miami actually probably does not even want to go to the ACC championship game, because they're going to have an argument with their 2 losses and with beating Notre Dame. They're going to have an argument to get in as an at-large. And, anyway, I'm sure the committee would probably take Notre Dame over them if they had to choose, but they'll have an argument.
And that would hurt us in bowl standings and situations. Jamie, is there a question about bowls?
Yeah, there is, but
Okay.
I was going to say, so Duke's actual path to the ACC championship game isn't crazy. I mean, it's obviously, like you said, you win. Miami's going to be looking to probably try to beat the crap out of Pitt. It would be my guess. I mean, I would think they would want to impress the committee, and then who knows with Cal and the new coach and all that.
So
just
that's
don't
the
know.
other thing is that's Cal SMU, right?
Right.
Okay, listen, there's a whole thing about when your coach gets let go, that your team plays above their heads that next weekend.
They get a burst of energy with the interim coach.
Yep.
We've seen it firsthand with Duke playing interim teams and losing games that they should not have lost.
So just 3 things happen. Duke beats Wake, Miami beats Pitt, Cal beats SMU, and Duke is in Charlotte. I mean, correct?
Yeah. Yes, that's the easiest path, because I don't see Virginia Tech beating Virginia. Yeah, Virginia. I mean, they hung with Miami for I'd say probably 2.5 quarters, and then Miami let it on. So yeah, that's the path that Duke fans need to hope for.
All right. Yeah, and here's your bowl question, Brian,
Okay.
from Frank Kokoska. I'm not sure if I pronounced that right, Frank. Obvious question from him is bowl site projections.
Yes. I'm gonna sound kind of crazy. Yeah, Tyler. That is one if we win, if we beat Wake. I went through this earlier in the year, way too soon, when I thought that the ACC was going to play nice, and obviously the ACC had other thoughts. Right now, if Duke finishes 6-6, they could potentially go to the Gasparilla Bowl in Tampa, the Fenway Bowl at or the Sabi Bowl in Boston at Fenway Park. Another scenario, which it seems like it's going to play out either way, and I'll get to it in a minute, is Duke could actually get bumped from the traditional ACC rotation of bowls and go to a different bowl game, say like Pitt did last year when they went to Detroit, or the First Responders Bowl in Fort Worth. Now, one thing to consider, if Notre Dame gets in over Miami, let's just say the committee doesn't care about the head-to-head, they pick Notre Dame. That's a spot that Miami would fall under, and then it would bump everyone down. On the flip side, if Miami gets picked over Notre Dame, the same scenario plays out. You want to know why? Because the ACC is Notre Dame's booty call, and that is in the agreement that they have with Notre Dame, that if Notre Dame does not make the college football playoff, they would then take an ACC bowl spot. If Duke wins against Wake, that would put them 7-5, and the opportunities open up more, like the Military Bowl, like the Duke's Mayo Bowl, like the Pinstripe Bowl. Because, as I stated earlier in the year, when it comes to picking a team for bowl games, you have a 1-game buffer, meaning a 7-5 team could technically get picked over an 8-4 team. However, if you have, let's say Duke beats Wake. Wake would then fall to 8-4. Duke would be No, I'm sorry. Let's say Duke is 6-6 and they're going up against an 8-4 team. Like I think Louisville maybe. Louisville or Duke cannot get picked over Louisville for a bowl game. There's that buffer, 2-game buffer. So to answer your question, Frank, it's still too early to see. Once the dust settles after this Saturday, and we'll kind of see where Duke's at. If they're 6-6, the options are limited. If they're 7-5, there's still a lot more possibilities.
And just to be clear, I don't know that there's a path to this, but like what every ACC school should be rooting for is somehow, some way, enough teams lose out, and somehow Miami and Notre Dame both grab at larges. That would be ideal because that would bump everybody up.
And one thing I forgot, Cal will not be in an ACC bowl game this year for the second straight year because of the agreement when they left the Pac-12 to come to the ACC. They have to play in a Pac-12 affiliated bowl, them or Stanford if they were bowl eligible. This is the last year they do that. After this year, they will be in the ACC bowl rotation. So still a lot to wait for and figure out. But to Josh's point, it would be great if the decks fell to where both Notre Dame and Miami were in, because then it would just open up even more possibilities. But who knows? We'll see.
All right. That was it. We didn't get a question about Wake this week. I mean, rightfully so. Everybody was excited about the win in Keenan. But I'll ask this question. Wake is 8-3. Wake has done nothing but get better all year. They looked rough to start. Kennesaw State, we mentioned that. But now they look like they've just been getting better each game. What are your thoughts on Wake Forest?
Let me pump the brakes on one thing. They absolutely lost the Georgia Tech game. They should be 7-4 right now. That was a complete ridiculous miss of an offsides call. And y'all know this. We don't blame the refs on this podcast. That was one that it was like that was the end of the game. Like that is the ball game. And anyway, didn't happen. So, but to their credit, they have improved throughout the season. This is not the game we thought it was going to be in week 2 or 3. And they play some really good defense. I'm sure Brian, do you have their numbers yet prepared?
I unfortunately dropped the ball this week. I'll put them out. I'll put them out on Thursday.
Yeah, it'll be on Twitter. You'll find their national rankings, and I'm sure their defense is going to be ranked fairly high.
And I'll counter what you said about the Georgia Tech game. They should have lost the SMU game where they won 13-12.
Yep.
They got that late field goal and beat the Mustangs 13-12. And then they lost to Florida State.
They should have lost to Kennesaw State.
Yeah, but they were still getting the new playbook under the coach coming from Washington State. But the fact they lost to Florida State 42-7, I forgot about that. Imagine if they had won that game, Wake would be in the talks with all the other schools right now to potentially head to the championship game. But as Connor O'Neill put it, as far as the quarterback, we don't know who the quarterbacks are going to be. It's like they're flipping a coin every week to see who starts. And so that's got to be tough game planning for Jonathan Packey and the defense. But we'll see come 3:30 on the ACC network.
Yeah, and sorry, guys, that was a lame preview for Wake, but we were focused on UNC and bowls and bigger picture. So
I think they'll forgive us. Whatever. I think they'll forgive us. All right. Ready for some predictions? Tyler, this is your first ever predictions with us. Before we give ours, we got to give a shout out, and I've lost the tab. There we go. So I had to do a coin flip or a wheel spin this week because we had 2 people get closest to the right score. One, Tom Bowen and Drew Cheshire. They both predicted Duke to win 31-24, so they were only off by 2 combined points. I spun the wheel, and Tom won. Drew, I'm sorry. I know you didn't want to hear that. So, Tom, I've actually already sent out your T-shirt and shorts. As far as this week goes, for the Year of the Fan, we started off the season by giving away a hat. And guess what, fellas? We're going to end the regular season by giving away a hat. So, I believe the first hat for the Elon game was blue. This week's hat is a official Coach's Authentic Team issue cap. It's black. It is medium large. Medium large. That's the only size that we were given by the equipment staff. Our thanks to them, as always, for all the apparel that they gave us this year for the Year of the Fan. And don't worry, folks. I'm fairly certain we will have a bowl giveaway. I think, yep, cat's out of the bag. It is going to be one of the Gothic D hats that we had made.
Not Duke. In case any of the licensing people are listening and watching,
It's just
this
a
is Gothic D hat.
Yeah, that's Detroit.
Exactly.
Go Tigers.
Sure. Yep.
Go
Durham.
Cowboys.
Durham.
Go Durham.
Yep.
There you go. All right. One thing I did look at before we started, we got to look at Vegas. We got to look at the points given up and the points scored every game. Duke enters as a 1.5 point favorite over the Demon Deacons. I don't know what Vegas is thinking, but maybe they're thinking on the same lines as what Josh is thinking about Wake Forest. Over under 54.5 points. Now, as far as offense and defense goes, Wake enters the game averaging 26 points per game. Duke enters the game averaging 33 points per game. Wake's defense is only allowing 19 points per game. There you go, Josh. Duke's defense is giving up 29 points per game. So take that for what you will. Tyler, why don't you go ahead and get us started? You know, you're the guest, kind of the guest, not the guest. You're our producer. We're going to open the floor up to you. Why don't you get us started with your
uniform
score
combo? Uniform
yeah,
combo
and uniform. Yep.
Cool. All right. Well, for uniform, I think we're going to keep it a little more traditional. I think we're going to go white, blue, white with the big iron D.
Mm-hmm.
For the last game of the season, I think they're just going to keep it. I think they're going to keep it traditional. For score prediction, I gotta go with the boys in blue. Gotta pull for my guys. Gotta pull them through. I think we're gonna win last second 2-point conversion, low scoring game. I think we're gonna win 22-21.
I like it. Okay. Well, as Jamie says, I'm unmuted, so I'll go. This is a tough one for me. I've been a Wake defender almost the entire season, even after the Kennesaw State game. Wake is on a tear right now. No matter what way you slice it, they are looking very stout. And the fact that they're not even in consideration for the ACC title game tells you everything you need to know about Coastal Chaos. I did this last week, and Duke proved me wrong. I'm going to do it again this week. I think Wake's going to ride the momentum. I think they're going to win. Their defense, I mean, I haven't looked at the numbers, but the fact that they're only allowing 19 points per game says a lot. Boy. I'm going to go Wake Forest 28, and I'm going to go Duke 24 in a soul-crushing loss at the end of the game for Duke to go 6-6. As far as my combo goes, by the way, Wake's helmets this year have been great. You know what? I'm going to go blueberries. I think the blueberries have been well received this year. Yep, there you go, Jamie. I think we're going to go blueberries with the Gothic script, and I hope, and this is just me based off of loving their helmets, I kind of hope that Wake brings the chrome helmets to Wallace Wade. Those gold chrome helmets are pretty spot on.
Well, Brian, and I saw Jamie's reaction to Brian's uniform combo. I'm about to play Scott's, and you guys are all thinking the same thing. Scott, what do you think, buddy?
Man, this is the day I think everybody dreads at the end of every season. One, the regular season's over. But two, we got to say goodbye to the seniors. Thank y'all. Man, great job. Love what you've done. Man, this is one of the best senior classes we've had. And I know we've had a great senior class in the past. But, man, this class has done a great job staying around and helping all these young guys up. So this week, uniform combo, man, I think, well, personally, I think we should stay with the helmets we wore in theory of what we wore last week, except for switch it up a little bit. I think it should be a blue helmet with the white Gothic script. I think it should be a blue out, honestly. But I think at the end of the day, it'll be a blackout. Hey, if you're going to black out, just stay with the same helmet. It's got some magic in it. It's got some mojo. So let's do that. Now, as far as beating Wake, man, what 11, 12 weeks has done to change your attitude about Wake Forest. My goodness. They're actually pretty doggone good. And, hey, they're bowl eligible, which is even better. And one more thing just to think about real fast on the bowl eligible thing. If App State wins this week, everybody in the state of North Carolina that's an FBS program will be bowl eligible except for the namesake college from Chapel Hill. How about that? Everybody else is going bowling while Billy and the boys sit at home and do nothing. Oh, I'm sorry, they're going to adult cheerleading competitions. But anyway, neither here nor there. For the score, I do believe the Wake Forest is going to score. I really think they are. They're very good. They got a bunch of good players, and they switch quarterbacks around. So it's crazy to think who's going to be the quarterback, and they'll do it every other play. Which, hey, it's worked for them so far. They're 7-5 or 7-4. That being said, let's, I haven't picked against Duke yet. I'm not going to start tonight, even though I don't know if Duke will win. I'm hoping they can still ride the emotion and get that 7th win, because that 7th win would be very helpful, just because it may help the bowl and help us go up a little bit better in a better spot. That being said, let's go Duke 35-31. Don't need the Todd Father at the end to win at the buzzer this time. Defense will make a stop, I believe. Hey, great job. Thank you, seniors. Oh, one more thing. Saturday night, after the Duke game is over, Muffy and Buffy, when you go over to Raleigh, I hope the Wolfpack whoops that tail. Sends Bill Belichick out with another loser, another L.
I actually think it's Friday night, but hey, Scott's not here to
I'll effort that while you're giving your prediction.
after that. I think it's Friday night. What is going on with Jamie? Jamie is walking around. Luckily, I'm going next, and so hopefully Jamie doesn't trip and fall. If he does, and you're watching on YouTube, you're about to get a show.
He's going to the TV because we're recording right before kickoff. He's sitting in the recliner. If you're
I
watching,
see the TV on. I can legitimately see the TV on his face.
Oh my God, here we go. And don't, folks, if he unmutes himself, whoa, Jamie, buddy, you gotta change the view there. Woo!
So good. All right, I'll go, Jamie, while you get situated. So, all right, I believe that this is the final home game, obviously, for our seniors. I believe they're going to let the senior captains potentially pick the uniform combo. And I think we've talked to those guys enough to know. I think they're going to go blackout with the Hellraiser. Those guys have told us in the past they do like that. So blackout with the Hellraiser is what they're going to do. And then, man, I'm really struggling on this. I'm going to pick Duke to win. I'm just trying to think, is the offense going to bounce back against a really stout defense? And you have to think that they're going to. Yeah, that's what I'm going to think. I'm going to keep telling myself that. So I'm going to go your Blue Devils 30. Kind of a weird score. What is that? 30 would be 3 touchdowns and 3 field goals. Yeah. Let's go with that. 30. And then the people down from Winston-Salem there, I'm going to go 24. So 30-24. Yo, Blue Devils. Jamie, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
No cussing.
I almost did just a minute ago. Christian McCaffrey. But anyways, so what did Scott pick on his uniforms? Did he go blue out or did he go blackout?
He ended up going blackout with the Gothic. He
Okay.
wanted to say blue out with the Gothic, which is what Brian
real
did.
quick, can I change mine to white, black, white just to piss Brian off?
Oh, yeah, baby. The reverse Oreos.
All right, reverse Oreos is mine now, okay?
Yes.
Oh my God, I hate y'all both.
Let's say I'm gonna go blue out. That was my reaction to Brian saying exactly the uniform combo I wanted. But I'll change my helmet to just the white D just to be different from Brian. So blue out with the white D. As far as the score, I'm gonna go. I think I agree with Josh. Although we say the offense bouncing back, they still scored 32 points against Carolina. So that's pretty good. But I guess Mensa didn't have his best game. So I expect him to bounce back. I think Duke 31 and Wake Forest 24. I'll take the over.
That is so good.
Josh.
I love it. I love it. That is epic.
UNC State 7:30 kickoff Saturday night. So
Saturday
it's
night,
not
Scott was correct.
Yep, not a Black Friday game.
All right. It was Black Friday last year.
I think that's what it was.
Yep. All right. Well, awesome. Well, make sure you give your predictions. We were late last week, And our apologies. I will make sure it gets out on Wednesday night is when we typically post those. So make sure you do that. Before we head to our Did You Know, I want to thank you for following us at Section 17 Media on X, on Instagram, on Facebook, and then we also still have our Facebook group, which is Duke Football Talk Group, where we just talk football. The other accounts, we also talk basketball and other sports now. And then on YouTube, thank you for watching. Share it. We do need more subscribers. We're trying to inch closer to that 1,000 mark. So if you could please share this with some friends. If you could subscribe and like, that would be awesome. And I think that's it. We will be tailgating this Saturday. And we know this game's going to be kind of sparse as far as the fan base is concerned, with it being a holiday weekend. But we'll have the solo stove out there, trying to keep it warm as possible because it's going to be a little chilly. And we will post our plans and menu and all that good stuff later this week. Brian, it's time. Wake Forest. Triple D. Did you know?
This one's for you, Josh. Did you know Wake Forest athletic teams were originally known as the Fighting Baptists due to the school's association with the Baptist Convention in Wake Forest, North Carolina? The school's original mascot was a tiger, and was the mascot of the school for close to 30 years. The name Demon Deacons did not come into existence until 1922, when Mayor Parker, the editor of the school paper at that time, said that Wake Forest fought like, quote, demons against Duke, giving rise to the nickname. The actual Demon Deacon mascot did not make its first appearance until 1941. Student Jack Baldwin was deemed the first Demon Deacon mascot after he and his fraternity brothers came to an agreement the school needed a live mascot. Said Baldwin, quote, "Some of my fraternity brothers and I were just sitting around one evening and came to the agreement that what Wake Forest needed was someone dressed like a deacon, top hat, tails, black umbrella, and all that. We wanted him to be more dignified than other mascots, sort of like an old Baptist deacon would dress." Baldwin found an old tuxedo with tails and a top hat and made his first appearance as the Demon Deacon before the UNC game on October 25th, 1941, when he led the team out of the tunnel riding Ramses the Ram. Wow, you wouldn't see that in this day and age. Wake Forest would go on to defeat UNC 13-0 that day, and the Demon Deacon would be solidified as the school's mascot. And that was the Did You Know for Wake Forest, riding the Ram out of the tunnel. Could you imagine Duke's mascot doing that?
A bold move. That's a bold move. But yeah, and also shout out, like the motorcycle entrance is pretty
that
sweet.
is cool. Yeah,
Really cool. And especially in basketball. I went to the road game at Lawrence Joel a couple of years ago, and man, it was awesome. Like, it was really cool. So shout out to them. They got a pretty good little football culture there. I got to give it to them. They actually bring fans to games too. So anyway, well, listen, I think, I mean, I'm good. Thanks to Scott. Shout out Scott for sending in his stuff. Tyler, man, producer Tyler, thanks for coming on, man. Hey, by the way, can we give it up for the edits that Tyler's done and the wins this year, and most recently the Billy's first words edit. We'll give it up. I will give it up for Tyler. He gets the clap, and I will say we beat the official Duke account to that kind of edit. And shout out, man. Tyler put that thing together. I was texting him at the very end of the game going, "Hey, man, I think it'd be cool if we did." And he's like, "I think I can make it happen." And then like 10 minutes later, he's like, "What do you think?" So we threw it up there, man. But anyway, thank you, Tyler. Seriously, man, for the work you do. Also, while we're at it, shout out to Laura, our photographer. Those two really provide really awesome content for us. And so shout out, man. We appreciate it.
we good?
We good.
No,
We out, homie. Turkey.
Again,
Happy Thanksgiving.
Yes, happy
We're
Thanksgiving
thankful
to
for our
everyone.
followers and people that watch.
Yep, another episode in the book, and it's crazy, guys. We're at the end of the season. I feel like we just started this season. Crazy how time flies, and the good, the bads, and the uglies. But hey, we're going to have a recap episode coming to you next Monday, and we will have a preview episode and a recap episode of all things bowl game. We don't know where, we don't know when, but as soon as we do, we'll give all the details, as Jamie is mad as the Carolina Panthers. Jamie, you're not helping me close this thing out. 3:30 kickoff against Wake Forest. If you can't be there, it's on the ACC network. Just support your Devils in whatever way you can. We understand it is a holiday weekend, and it's tough to get out there if you've already got plans with your family. Some of us already do as well, but we're going to try to make it as many of us as possible. But thanks to each and every one of you for the questions, for tuning in, for listening in, and get those Devils another victory so we can go 7-5 and open up more bowl possibilities. But that will do it for us, for Josh Cox, for the angry Jamie Holt, for the absent Scott Medlin, and for Tyler Witt, our producer, joining us tonight. Again, Tyler, thank you so much. I'm your host, Brian Kennedy, and this has been another episode of the Section 17 podcast.